Hello, my name is Peter Ives. I teach in the political science department at the University of Winnipeg. Most of my recent work is on global English, the rise of English across the world. I came to that topic as trained as a political theorist, and I was interested in the relationship between language and political community, and especially working on Antonio Gramsci, the Italian Marxist cultural thinker, who was also trained as a linguist, although many don't know that. And so that sort of is what brought me to this topic. In that sense, I'm an interdisciplinary thinker in general, and I like to draw on lots of different disciplines and research. When I became interested in language in particular, I started going to many more language policy conference, applied linguistics conferences, and I did realize how much it seems like we have a history of people like the linguist Ferdinand de Saussure, who basically invented structuralism within linguistics, and then it had a huge influence on the rest of the social sciences with structuralism in general through anthropology, and it kept on occurring to me how much interesting work is being done on the spread of English and the notion that English is now a non-native language for most of its users. And this to me seems to be a very important change in what a language is and how we think about it. And so it's sort of those types of issues that I think there's many political theorists and other political scientists working on language and language politics and language policy, but quite often they don't necessarily pay enough attention to some of the empirical work done by sociolinguists, applied linguists, and education scholars working in language areas. And then I think it's also a two-way street. So, a lot of my work I've sort of understood as creating bridges between different disciplines, and then also looking at this phenomena of global English and how it is, even what it is. There's a huge debate within sociolinguistics and these other fields about what constitutes global English. Are there varieties of English? And those questions, and to me those are fairly deep philosophical questions that often aren't treated in any of the disciplines in a way that I think is necessary. But it's also sort of the more practical concern. So to some extent, one of my big interests now is the way that people talk, both in the media as well as scholars, talk about the spread of English as if it's sort of natural, or as if it's the automatic result of what's called globalization, which is most often not thought about very clearly, or it's sort of fuzzy, or it's sort of the result of technology and those types of things. And I recently have been arguing that we need to think about it as the result of state traditions and language regimes. So in that sense, it's hard, because when you're working at the global level, the state traditions get very complex and it doesn't fit. But on the other level, it's a clear way, I think, to see the ways in which, especially political science, needs to and can have a greater impact and interaction with other fields that are dealing with the spread of English around the globe.